Welcome to Unbiased and on the Fence. I'm Shane. Well, I've had drones here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I've seen them twice now, and I have to share my experience with you. I've created some recreations of what I saw, and I do have some footage, although it's not very great. But you can definitely see some things that you don't normally see with aircraft in the sky. So it does serve an important purpose there. But before getting to that, I want to cover the flashing light phenomenon that's happening actually here in Tulsa. So if you've been watching Mr. MBB333 on YouTube, you'll see that he's been covering the strange flashing light phenomenon that you'll see with some of these LED lights. And so I've been following this for a little over a year. I started noticing it happening. And I do know that there's like different components within the LED lights that do fail often and things like that. But there's also possibilities that just drains on the voltage or just fluctuations in the voltage can cause this sort of thing. And some of these components may be susceptible to interference from the outside. So we just really don't know. But all we know is that all these places all over the country are experiencing the flashing light phenomenon. And Mr. MBB 333 is actually mapping it out all over the world, actually. And so I want to give you an example of what that's like and put Tulsa on the map for us here with the flashing light phenomenon. Looks pretty spooky. Let's check it out. You have a street light flashing. If you look over at these apartments, all these flashing lights across the way. Really wild. So I went in for a little bit closer look, and you can see it only got worse once I got close, and the whole place almost seemed haunted with these flashing lights. What the heck is going on here? This was pretty wild to see in person. And so, yeah, it's happening here in Tulsa as well. So I need to tell you about my drone experience. And I got to tell you that it's, after I've watched so many videos of people talking about these mysterious UAP drone type craft. And I can definitely see why they were calling them drones, because just the size. And they don't seem like they're from another planet. They totally seem like they're just advanced technology, maybe reverse engineered or something. All right. So with my experience, I was at Tulsa International Airport, January 16th. And the first set of drones I noticed was at about 8:41 p.m. I'm sitting in my car. It's still kind of chilly, so I have the windows rolled up, but I have my top open. So I'm looking, out the window and out the top, just at aircraft or whatever, because I'm at Tulsa International Airport. And I sit here quite often. A lot of times you'll have jets taking off and things like that. So I'm chilling there. I notice some flashing lights above. And so I look up and I see what I think are 3 airplanes. And I never would have even given it a second look. I probably could have watched for 5 or 10 seconds and never thought a thing about it. I would have figured it was an airplane. But the fact that there were 3 made me take note, because I sit here all the time at the airport, right? And I never see planes flying all by each other like this. Now, it looked like 2 of them were sort of at the same altitude, one trailing the other, one's off to the side a little bit, and then the other one was trailing a little bit more behind, but it seemed to be at a higher altitude, meaning that, the flashing airplane looking lights on them seemed to be smaller and further away. But the thing that really caught me is that the fact that they were together, and you never see planes flying the same direction. I mean, you might see one like going this way, and then you'll see another one cross its path and things like that at the really high altitudes. And you can tell they're at way different altitudes. So they're not really close, but it might appear that way. But you don't typically see them all flying together unless it's jets or you're at an air show or something along those lines. So when I saw 3 of them and I watched for a moment and they were moving in the same direction, fairly close to each other, with one being at a higher altitude, my initial thought is, oh, it must be jets. And so I turned my car off so that the fan and the radio and everything stopped. Because sometimes when you're watching jets, the sound can lag behind them because they're going so fast. And these didn't look like they were moving that fast, but they look like they could be at a pretty high altitude, and maybe the sound hadn't gotten there yet. That happens a lot with the jets. It's just the sound comes later a little bit. So I turn off my car and everything. I'm listening. No sound. So I'm watching, and I had watched the three airplanes kind of moving together, two kind of close, one a little bit further away. So at this point, I'm like, well, what the heck are these if they're not jets, right? So I go into my glove box and glove compartment, and I pull out my binoculars. I have to unzip them out of the little thing, open them up, sort of make sure they're turned the right way. It probably took 5 to 7 seconds, right, for me to do this whole thing. In that time, I don't know, at the time I didn't know what had happened, but it had gone from 3 craft down to 1. Just 1 ship up there now, or 1 plane, right? Because at this time I'm still thinking it's planes, and I'm like, where the heck did it go? Now, 7 seconds is not long enough that, 3 things had to have happened. It had to two of them had to shoot off so fast that they were gone, like nowhere to be seen within 7 seconds. I'm saying 5, but it could have been 7, and, or they just started cloaking themselves and made themselves invisible, or maybe combined into making themselves into 1 craft. Now, I hadn't thought about the third option until my second encounter that happened at like 10:02, about an hour and a half later. So as I look up and there's just 1 airplane, I'm like, what the heck? So I look through my binoculars, and this is what I see. It was a triangle. It had white lights in the corners and a flashing red light in the middle. It might also had a white light that was on constantly in the middle. But this is what I saw when I looked through my binoculars. So it went from 3 airplane all the way down to this triangle shape with the white dots and the red flashing light. And I'm staring at this kind of in shock. So that's why it took me a second to even start rolling this footage that I got. So I got my camera out and I started recording. Really all I captured was this, really all you can tell was that it was a flashing light. You don't really get, if you notice there, you could almost see a white flashing light in there too. So one of the things I noticed about these drones is that the intensity of the light aren't as bright as commercial airliners. There's several things that give them the illusion that they're really far away when they're actually not. We'll get into that in a moment, but first I want to explain that, I watched that go away. I was sort of like shocked. I'm like, I can't believe I just saw these drones, and so I was excited about it, and I'm like, I wonder if they come around like every so often or whatever. One of the things I noticed that made it seem like they weren't, how can I say this? The times that they showed up, there was no other air traffic. It was just like when I watch jets all the time take off. They're always, all of the school and military stuff kind of happens in between all of the commercial airline flights and all of that. So this was one of those situations where, there was kind of like a gap in the air traffic, and then the drones come by. There was some more air traffic, and then the drones came by about an hour and a half later. So I don't feel like they were foreign or unexpected. I feel like they were, granted access from the FAA to fly over an international airport. I just don't think that they weren't supposed to be there. They didn't have that feeling at all. They didn't seem like they were hiding. They didn't seem like they were putting on a show. They seemed like they didn't want to be seen, that they wanted to just kind of look like an airliner, that it was doing some other kind of mission. It seemed like it was AI controlled. So this wouldn't be a UAV. Technically, it would be a UAS, an unmanned aerial system rather than vehicle. So I really feel like AI was flying it. And when I saw 3 and then it was 1 7 seconds later, and I have no idea what had happened, I didn't want to leave until I got to see. So I'm like, man, maybe they come around every hour. But anyway, it was an hour and a half later. I did not spot it again until it was right over me. I mean, I don't know how these things creep up on me, but the first time it was going from the north to the south, right over the runway at Tulsa International Airport. And then I caught it right as it had, passed the airport. So I was a little bit biased. I was checking that direction more than I was the other direction. So the second time it came from the south, and I caught it right above the car again, just like before. And that was the first I'd seen it. So I was like, is that it again? And I got excited. I was a little bit more prepared. I had my phone ready. I had the flight radar out. By the way, they didn't show up on flight radar. And, almost everything shows up. Even the jets show up on flight radar. The only thing I haven't seen on there that I've seen flying around that other than the drones was a police helicopter. What I can see why they don't have their transponder on, at least publicly, because they're law enforcement or whatever. And I was actually surprised that the military stuff comes up, but it does. So anyway, so I'm sitting at the airport. I look up and I see this recreation I want to show you here. Okay, so I look up and I see something that looks like this. I just kind of recreated something because when I looked through the binoculars, I could tell it was definitely not a craft. There was way too many lights. I think I got about 12 on here now. I would say there was 12 to, a dozen to 2 dozen lights on this craft as it's going over. And there's smaller ones and there's bigger ones. And there's no specific, it didn't look symmetrical. It just kind of looked like a constellation of white and red lights. Some of them flashing, some of them not. And then I do remember a row of some smaller lights that you couldn't see until you looked through the binoculars. So it looked like it was some kind of smaller, like it had some smaller detailed lights on it that you weren't able to really see, unless you were looking at it with some kind of telescope or some kind of telephoto lens or whatever. So I'm looking at this and I'm like, what the heck is that? Right? So, like I said, this isn't the exact the way that the array of lights. It was just about this many lights, something that looked kind of complicated like this. This is just similar to what I saw. It just happened so fast that I can't, provide the exact details. But I look up, I see this moving across above me, and then I start the video and I'll play the video. You can't see all this detail, of course, but let me show you what I got. This was at 10:02. The first one was at 8:41. See here, I slowed this first section down because you can actually see quite a few lights on here. In fact, I think the ones that look orangish or greenish are just because of the smaller lights blending with, like, the smaller red ones blending with the white perhaps or something. But this is what was unusual about this. So it was all flying together. Now, this is what made me think the initial sighting where I saw 3 planes and then 2 of them disappeared could have combined because, as you see right here, they actually separate. They were together. Now, here's the cool thing about this, right? Planes don't ever do this. So we can rule out planes, and helicopters don't fly right next to each other like that. So we can rule out like any kind of normal, air traffic that we would normally see. Because right now, these 2 are flying together. They were right next to each other. They look like they were actually one craft altogether. You can tell they're actually moving slow. I would guess that they're only moving maybe 45 miles an hour, maybe 55, somewhere in there. They weren't moving very fast, but they seem pretty normal if you assume that they're at 25,000 feet. It's only the fact that they're only maybe 1,000 or 2 feet in the air that you realize, like, oh, it's moving slow, So after a while, I switched to night vision camera. Now it's got a manual focus and no image stabilization. So even the smallest little movements, especially while you're trying to turn the focus on it, can shake it all around or whatever. So I apologize for that, but I wanted to be able to switch it to full infrared and see if any other details came out. Now you'll notice, do you see how the one down here looks like it's split into 2 again? And that's when I switched to infrared to see if I could pick up any other details. The other thing you'll notice as we watch this video, I know it's long, but if you watch it, you'll see how the light patterns change quite a bit. Like the one at the top here, sometimes it just looks like an orange orb, and then other times it looks like it's got red in it, and sometimes it looks like it's flashing, and sometimes this one here, it actually has two red dots. It was one for a while, and now this one had been pulling away from this one in the beginning, but now this one's ahead of this one now, so they're kind of going back and forth. You just don't see this type of interaction between aircraft ever. They're not together like that. I've seen some recently where it looks like a chopper chasing a drone or something like that, but this just looked like two different drones that possibly could have been connected as one for a while there. Here I have to zoom back out to find it and zoom back in, but as you see, I'm looking right over the airport, and you might be able to get a better idea of exactly how high up it is by zooming out and looking at it. But I think it's only 1,000 or 2,000 feet, maybe. I don't think it's very high. And over here, you can see some other details coming out as it was slowed down. Now here they're drifting quite a bit apart. And at some point, I'm just going to move and start focusing on the one on the right. This is pretty long, but it's important to see how different these lights will morph and change over time. Because now, see how it's just looking like an airplane. Who would think anything of that over in the sky, You'd think, oh, that's just an airplane going by. This you might see as a plane or a satellite, who knows? But nothing looks too suspicious, and the closer you look at this one over here, you'll see it starts flashing. So I don't know if it's where the lights are located on them or what, but you can see this one almost looks like it has two, like it's looking more like the other one with two distinct lights on the back of it, where it would look like an orb for a little bit there. And there you see a flash. Now it's starting to flash, you see? So this is really, now it's not flashing. So it was really strange the way the lighting kept changing on it. They kept seeming like different lights, different amounts of lights, and you couldn't really make sense of the shape of the craft. Here we have it flashing again in a steady way, like a plane. It's really hard to know what was actually going on. And all I know is with my own eyes, I could tell it was some sort of drone without any sound. Definitely looked like some advanced technology. But now that I've seen it up close and I understand how the drones can actually have really silent propellers. It could have been a prop drone. I don't think so, but it's definitely possible. It definitely had some really advanced battery for it to operate for such a long time, though. Okay, here I made this little diagram to kind of explain why the drones can fool you as being an airplane. First off, if you can imagine the observer here at the bottom, this little guy is looking up. The drone lights are arranged in such a way at, say, 1,000 or 2,000 feet that they appear to be an airplane at 25,000 feet. So I just used this 10% number here. I think it might have actually been closer to 5%. Like this could have been more like a quarter of a mile up, 1,200 feet or so. But what gives it away, because as you look up, since this is really moving at like 45 miles an hour, it looks like it's moving slow like an airplane at 25,000 feet. So you don't notice with the size or the intensity of the light, since it's less, it appears to be an aircraft at a higher altitude. And then if you think about the interpolation of how it was moving, like in the first video, I thought it had actually stopped as it got further away. So, if a car passes right by you, it's going to seem like it's really moving fast as it gets closest to you. But as things move further away from you, this drone would appear to be at its fastest when it's right above you, but then appear to get slower and slower as it gets away from you because it's at a lower altitude. But a high altitude, say something's 5 miles up in the air, as that plane's moving across there, it's not going to seem too much faster right above you as if it would if it was at a lower altitude. So that sort of gets into the animation ease in, ease out that they teach to give things that realistic look when you're animating them. So this would be one of those instances where the drone would look like it's moving slow if you were animating it, and then as it went over your head, you would want to speed it up and then slow it back down to give it this effect that it's lower to the ground. And that's exactly what I noticed in that first footage. As the drone was flashing away, and even the second footage, it just started moving way slower and slower in a noticeable way, where if it had been in a higher altitude, that wouldn't have been as noticeable. So the footage isn't very good. The experience was awesome. Matter of fact, I've been totally obsessed with trying to capture them again, and I haven't seen them since. It's been really cold, so I thought maybe the weather or the low temperatures had something to do with it. And the temperatures have kind of warmed up, and I haven't seen any more activity. But I definitely have my eyes to the skies looking, and I wanted to put the word out because, like I said, if there hadn't been 3 of them right together in the very beginning, I would have never thought anything of it. I would have assumed it was an airplane. So it was sort of the weird flights of them being so close together that even caught my attention. So if you see several airplanes in the sky close together, take a closer look. It's probably not airplanes because they don't fly so close together like that, and then kind of come apart and then come back together again like we saw in the video. So amazing footage, even though it's grainy and horrible. I'm so glad I was able to capture at least what I did, because you can clearly see it's not an airplane or a Chinese lantern or a helicopter or anything like that. So I wanted to do an update video. A while back, I did this video where I was showing this guy. This was in 2021 that had had this piece of glass, and when he looked through it, he could see an aircraft and some kind of spacecraft UFO in the sky. And it was this glass that enabled him to be able to do that. Let's see here. So I don't know if you guys remember this video, but I couldn't find anything else on it at the time. And so yeah, I thought it was really compelling video. But in this video, he goes over and he gets closer to it. He keeps looking through the glass. And then, let's see. It's like at the last moment, he doesn't see it flying off there. He didn't notice it flew off, and he went to walk and get closer. And then there was no video about it. It was just gone, no explanation. And the guy's talking in Russian, so it wasn't very helpful. But I found out where it all came from. So it turns out the guy who originally did the video had, I guess he posted somewhere, since he speaks Russian. I found this video here that explains what happened. The guy was fishing, and it says that a UFO crashed near where he was fishing. I think he even said he recorded the crash, although he didn't publish it. He was too scared to, but he was close enough that he was able to run over to the debris. He got a couple of shards of glass or whatever and ran away as these helicopters are coming in. Now, days later, it's still hot to the touch when he touches the glass. And check these etchings out on the glass. It looks like some type of, almost like a crop circle design. You see that? It's like etched into the glass. So this is pretty cool. These are some details that we didn't have before. So basically the glass broke, and he's got a couple of pieces of it. And when you look through it, you can see UFOs, but it's also got this crop circle pattern in the shard that he has here. So evidently the guy got scared, and he had published some videos, and then he made them all private. And it was one of the things that I was like, man, if this is real, this guy, I mean, think of it. If you had a piece of glass like this, right? You would be driving around, you'd be going places and just looking for UFOs all the time. You would be obsessed with it. And that's what this guy's been doing. And we didn't know because he was too scared to post the videos. But I'm going to play them for you right now because I want to make sure if he makes them private again that they're still out there somewhere. So we're going to look at them together. All right. As you see now, they're not private. You can check them out. It's called Space Rue. And let's take a look at a few of these together here. These are amazing. I was blown away by this one. Look at this. Let me back it up a little bit. I'm going to mute it because you can't understand if you don't speak Russian. And if you do, you can go to his channel. But check this out. He was basically... Check it out. He's like at a 5G tower. He's like at a cell tower. And there's this... what looks like a pyramid. I don't know if it's a pyramid on the top as well, or if it's an upside down pyramid. You can't really tell, but it takes about 22 seconds or so for it to make a full revolution. And this video goes on for a while. I mean, it looks legit. I think he's cold, but here he is with another piece of that glass. Looks like he cut it down to a smaller piece. That's probably what I'd want to do. I'd hate to have all of it and have all your eggs in one basket. If you lost it or if somebody took it or something, you'd still have the other piece. Isn't that wild? Oh, it gets wilder. Evidently, there's all sorts of stuff out and about that we don't see without this magical glass this guy has. How about that? So you can see it goes on for, here's a spot where he moves the glass a little bit. Let's see. Here's one in a lightning storm. Check this out. Right over here. Do you see that? How about that? Oh, here they are right in the middle here. Make sure I got the highest quality here. Yeah. You see right here in the middle. He's going to zoom in. It looks like two metallic orbs just floating there. Now he captures these metallic orbs quite a bit. He's got some really cool, fascinating footage. A lot of these he just keeps getting closer and closer. Oh, it looks like, oh no, they went in together and came apart. They seem to go together. It's hard to tell if they're actually going together or just one going behind the other. Yeah, it looks like they went behind each other maybe. Let's check out another one here. It's pretty cool. This one was pretty cool. He seems to film these like towers, electric poles, and cell towers a lot, like as if they hang out around the electric stuff quite a bit because he's always filming up at them. So watch this. You see that? Go back. I think he will actually. Let's just go back. Look at that. I think his slow motion might be better than mine. So, okay, here it comes again. Slow motion. Watch this. That is crazy. It totally looks like it could be CGI, but you know, the light source seems to be in the proper position. I thought this one was pretty cool, but there's actually some cooler ones, so let's check them out. Now, let's see which one this is. Let's see if we can get it to focus in a little bit better. It's right up by this tower here. Let's jump forward. Okay, he's going to go closer, so let's jump ahead. There it is, right there. Once again, the light source is where it should be. So strange. See, does he go closer? A lot of times he just keeps going closer until he can get right up on it. All right, let's check out another one. Let's see, hold on a second. And he's cut them into smaller pieces. I swear this will be me. If I had the glass, I'd be just walking around, just looking everywhere. Let's see what he's gonna find here. All right, I'm gonna jump ahead. Let's see what he sees. There's something there. Oh, he's following one that's moving here. Oh my goodness. How exciting that would be.
Блять, вот он, летит. Черный или как, блядь, непонятно. Летит. Блять. Ух, адреналин пошел, блядь.
Hear the excitement? I don't think this is fake, you guys. I think this guy found this glass. Oh, there's a... Oh, okay, he's slow motion.
Поэтому, не знаю, надолго ли моего канала хватит на ютубе.
So, evidently there's these metallic balls that we've already been seeing around. Look, this video, 10 months ago. This guy's been recording them for a while. Let's check this one out. It's from a year ago. All right, here it comes. Right there. Wait, there's another one right there. Oh no, that's a bird. This is it. That is really amazing. If you look closely, that reflection looks pretty accurate. You can almost see the world below reflecting in it in the sun. That is super cool. Let's check out another one. This one here is, it's a longer one, okay, but it's pretty super cool. You can check out the whole thing. I'm going to just jump through it because he sees one of these metallic balls under the bridge, and then he goes to investigate it. So he's looking for it. Where is it? Oh, there it is. Right here. Do you see it floating under the bridge? It just floated behind that pillar, or whatever they call those things. And I'm going to jump forward because in this particular one, he gets a close-up. Let's check it out.
Вот он прям близко, метров 40,
Right here.
30, наверное. О, блядь, да.
Now look how it's shadowy on the top because it's under the bridge and it's light on the bottom from the water, reflecting the light up.
Ну, блядь.
There it is.
Ну, блядь.
Did you see that?
Сука. Ну, блядь. Ну, блядь.
That is so cool.
Ну, блядь.
Let's do that slow motion here. Wow. Okay, here's another one. Check out this object here flying in on the right. It's crazy. It looks like it's a tumbling metallic tic tac. You see that right there at the top? It's crazy. What is that just tumbling through the sky? Pretty wild stuff. I don't necessarily think this could be reverse engineered alien tech, of course, but just the fact that it's hanging out near towers and electrical stuff and bridges. Could this possibly be almost like little drone security drones that's keeping an eye on things? Ooh, what is this one? Oh, no way. What is that? 5, 6, 7 of these metallic balls just hanging out above this, some kind of plant. I have not seen this one yet. But this is like candy going through this guy's videos because all of these are just amazing. It's like, what the heck is going on? I need a piece of this glass, you know? But even if you had a piece of it, you wouldn't, you'd have to, he's lucky he figured out that, he's lucky there was a UFO there when he went and looked through it, I don't believe in coincidences, but I kind of think this is real. This would take a lot of time to fake. It's totally fakeable, but the amount of time and then to make the videos private for a while and then not again. And he seems kind of worried about it. He changes the sound of his voice in some of these videos, like he doesn't want to be recognized. I don't know. I just think it's legit. Let's see what these things ever do, if they ever do anything. Did they fly off? Why did they fly off? What are they doing? What in the world? That is really weird. Okay, I'll jump forward a little bit. Wait, oh, wow, they're flying off. Wow, that was cool. Let me back it up a little bit. Wait, all right, 2, 4. There it went. Holy cow. What the heck? I got to see that again. That was crazy. That is so cool. What the heck are these things? All right, and then jump forward. They start leaving again. Keep in mind, you can't even see that unless you have this magical glass this guy has. What the heck? What else we got here? Here we have another one where it looks like it's hanging out above another tower. Why are these bad boys hanging out at these towers? I mean, man, it's so many possibilities, right? I mean, they could be drawing energy off of it. It could be some type of repeater. So say it is some kind of alien race and they're able to, say, get on our internet if they can just send one of their drone orb things to hang out above our 5G tower and just tap into our network, maybe. Maybe that's how they get, and then it can relay it up to the mothership or something like that, right? Or it could be shielding. There's so many things, you know. And this one, he has another one. Right in frame here. So it looks like most of these are metallic orbs, balls, spheres, if you will. Let's see whatever happens with this bad boy. This one seems darker, doesn't it? What is that? Is that reflecting or does it have lights on it? It looks like it might have lights on it or something. Oh, shoot, it flew away. Maybe we were seeing it power up or something. Let's go back. Bam. Gone. Ooh, we have one up by the towers again. This is interesting. What are these things doing at the towers? Up there it went. Now this one here is pretty cool. If you look over at this building, you'll see now we have a white orb. This reminds me of the orb in my last video I showed above my house that looked like some kind of star in the sky. Look at that. It actually looks like it got brighter for a second. This is pretty cool. He's going to move in closer, so I'm going to jump ahead. We can get a closer look. Let's see, what is he? Oh, okay, so it's to the left of the dish. So it should be over there somewhere. You must have to, here we go. Yeah, it's more on the other side, so there it is. Look at that. Now he's going to get even closer. Let's see. When does he get close? Now here he gets really close, and this is where it reminds me of the black blob I recorded years ago, where it looked like it was just a black blob that was kind of morphing in different shapes. Look at this. What the heck is this? You can only see this with this special piece of glass he has. So wild. Okay, here he is filming another tower. Oh, there it is. Did you see how it came out of nowhere? Oh, and it went into nowhere. Let's see. There it was. Came out of maybe the clouds and went back in the cloud. I wonder if that was just bigger and a higher altitude. What we got here? Oh, there's another one going right into the cloud. Wonder if that's the same one that came out and... What we got now? Was that something I just passed? That was something. What was it? Oh, it was a bug or something. Okay, hold on. Look at that. Two of them. A pair of them. Did they go behind or in front? They disappeared again. I guess it's... Oh, it's behind. So they're pretty big. Yeah. Yeah, they go behind. And into the cloud. Wow. So, what do you think of that footage? This has been a mind blowing year so far. So much is being revealed, so much more to come, and the best is yet to come. How good can it get? All of that good stuff, because this is so exciting. I just need to get a little piece of that magical glass. And so, if you have a piece, please do send it. I don't need much, just big enough to go over my camera lens, big enough to look through like that. I'll be so happy. So anyway, let me know what you think in the comments below. I think this is some mind-blowing stuff. I've got links down there, so if you want to look into this further, you can do so. Lots of love, light, and unity. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.